Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we're going to go from Logic Pro to Loopmix. So what I'm going to do is create a project in Logic Pro, export those stems, get them into Loopmix and show you how you create your project in there. Now this is a really creative way of using loops, samples, instruments, any loops you've got, right? So this is really cool. So first of all, what we're going to do is hit the little plus button here, hit tracks, and for speed, we're just going to go straight to patches, loops, and samples. We're going to hit loops, and I'm going to go straight into the actual deep dive filter here. And down the bottom here, we have sound pack. So we'll just start by maybe picking some sort of sound pack. Let's see what we've got down here. Well, look, step sequencer loops. We'll start there with them. We can close this now, done. And then we can drill down further. We can go right synth. And now you've got things like this kind of thing. That's what I'm going to use. So all you need to do is pick it up, drag it over here, and you'll see it goes over 2 bars. So what we'll do is hit this little loop button, click on this, and we'll expand this to 4 bars. Now you can expand it to as many bars as you like, but we'll keep this sensible. Okay, so now you can play. Now, also as well, pick a tempo. This is pick the tempo of this, which is 72. Honestly, it doesn't matter. We can actually speed this up to, say, let's put it up to 100. But it doesn't matter for Loopmix because Loopmix chops samples. It's fine, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so now we've got this. Cool. We can try. And these will all now fit in with the tempo of this. So we'll just listen. See what that sounds like with that as well. So now we've got this. Awesome. And what we will do is switch on our looping as well. So it loops our sample. Now we can audition these while this is playing as well. So okay, that sounds good. Now with something like this that extends, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you can actually, can't really drag it any further, but you can expand it. But because we're just working with this 4-bar loop here, this won't end up getting exported, and I'll show you I'll show you how you do that anyway. So it's very cool and quite easy. So let's carry on and then we can a couple more. Now you can see by the little scroll bar here that there are lots and lots of these. So these are partials. Nice. Expand this one. Now, Loopmix will allow you to import 6 stems. Okay, so we only need 1 more and we can go and crack on with that. So Now, for the sake of speed, I'm not going to do loads and loads of editing, but of course you can add effects, you can chop these up, you can do whatever you like with them. You can go in and do a little bit of mixing till you're happy. Like I said, you can go on editing, you can use different sounds loops, you can pick stuff and play it in. Now, here's the key thing. We want to be exporting stems, right? So first of all, we want to decrease our project like this until we see this little arrow at the end, and it'll be around the, I guess, the 4 or 5 minute mark. Pick this up and drag this here. Now, you don't need to do this if you're just exporting a loop, a mix of all of these to one, right? But because I want to export stems, I have to do it this way, and I'll explain why in just a sec. First of all, we can go back and name our project, doesn't matter. We can open this little drop down menu here, and we can choose export. Now, here we can give it a name. So let's just, I don't know, we'll just call it anything. Hang on a sec. Just call this, I'm going to call this test for loop mix. And we can change this anytime we like, right? So let me just get rid of the keyboard. You see here, I have this set on uncompressed wave, 24-bit. You can go into the information here and set this to AIFF or wave, doesn't really matter. Resolution, you can have a 24 or 16, we'll leave it on 24. Sample rate, I'm going to leave on 44.1, but you can have 48, 88, 96, so huge. Let's go back here. Now, this is the key thing, right? You can't see anywhere to export stems, right? So what you need to do, entire project, right? Now, as soon as we hit entire project, you will see export all tracks as individual audio files. Okay. You can't, if you have this switched on, right, and you do not set the end of your track position with that little white thing, it will export all individual tracks and all of that extra stuff at the end, right? Regardless of what you have set up anywhere else. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Export entire project length, right? Uncompressed wave. And now when we picture, export all tracks as individual audio files. Switch that on. That's important. Okay, and now you can choose to have it normalized. I'll have it normalized. It's fine. You don't need to include the audio tail. In fact, don't include the audio tail because your loop won't loop properly. It will have a tail at the end, right? So that's important as well. So let's hit share. And it's going to export those tracks. It won't take long. And we're going to go to save to files like this. And I'm going to go to AudioShare. And you see where it's, I've got this folder in it. It says loops for apps. It doesn't matter. You could put it here if you wanted to. I'm going to just put this into, in fact, I'm not. I'm just going to put it into the AudioShare file. And I'll show you why as well. So I'm going to hit save. And now this project will have gone off to AudioShare. So let's go and have a look in AudioShare. Okay, so here we are in AudioShare, and you will see this test for Loopmix zip has appeared here. I'm going to click on this, and AudioShare allows us to unzip files. So I'm going to click unzip, and there are all our individual stems that we've just recorded, right? So we've got all of those. What I'm going to do is create a project, like I'm going to put these into another folder. So what did we call it? Test for Loopmix. And I'm going to place it into my loops for apps folder. So to do this in AudioShare, it's super simple. We first of all just create here, add a folder. I'm just going to call this Loopmix Logic. Okay. And go okie dokie. And hit this little button here. And I'm going to select these ones like this. Just hit this little green button, which is move. Loopmix Logic. Place those in there. And then I'm going to take the Loopmix Logic file and put that into my loops for apps. So let's just do that quickly. So select, move into loops for apps and move item here. Now, if I go into my loops for apps, there is my Loopmix Logic stems. Right, now, that's all done. We're sorted with this. What we need to do now is just open up Loopmix. So we'll do that. Okay, so here we are in Loopmix. So what we're going to do is open up our browser and you'll see that we're on a blank project, init project. You always want to be starting on init project. What we're going to do first is click on this little plus button here. Go to where we put our files, of course, and I put them in loops for apps. And there we go, Loopmix Logic. I'll open this. And I'm going to choose this first one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pick on this. It's going to end up there. Let's do this quickly. I'll do a little cut here while I put all these in here, okay? So I've done all of these now. I'm just going to do this last one. Go to AudioShare, Loops for Apps, Loopmix Logic, number 6, and I import into there. Now, the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to save this pattern, and I am going to call it the same kind of thing. So Loopmix, where are we? Loopmix Logic, and we'll hit save like that. And you'll see it here. So there it is. If we close it, you'll see all our waves are there. I'm going to pick this up and put it into my folder, so which is called magnets. And if I open magnets now, Loopmix Logic will be in here somewhere. There it is at the top. Actually, I'm going to rename that as well and keep naming priorities the same because it makes more sense. Loopmix Logic. Enter that. Now that's done, and it will be there. Now it's already loaded in, but if we were to load another one, say double tap on it and stuff, you'll see I've got one called Lost in Time. Go back in here. Let's open our Loopmix Logic one. Double tap to install. And first thing I'm going to do, right, is I'll need to resave this again because if I play this, there's nothing there. I'm going to engage poly and hit this. Thanks for that. And hit this. And now we've got a chopped up version of our loop. And what's cool now, if we like one of them, we can lock it. And then we can start to make we can do all sorts of cool stuff with things like density. We can choose to reverse some stuff. When you're happy with a result, if you like, just hit save and save again. Yes. And when we go back in now and change to say a different project, here's our new one. And then of course you can carry on editing and mixing. You can go and make some more loops, but it's it's a really creative way to use things like Logic or Cubase or whatever DAW you like. And also, it's not just Loopmix. You can put this into things like Sampler or anything that you can manipulate your samples with. You know, it's really cool. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, consider becoming a patron. We've also just started a new Facebook page, group, where you can post your stuff as well. Anyway, top job, cool beans, and I will see you later. Yep, from Logic to Loopmix.